What's going on, guys? So today on this Shoky review, we're going to be taking a look at a new kit, at least to me, from the Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise line. And you know, so far we've only done a very small handful of Re-Rise kits. And originally I said I wasn't going to get this, but then I decided with the newer ones that I figured I'd go back and go ahead and do this one. And it is, of course, the Earthree Gundam Hiruto's Mobile Short. And of course, HD1144, Bandai Spirits Build Divers. Great image of the Earthree right there, or they just Earth armor, whatever. I don't think he ever actually says Earthree. I could be wrong. Here it is in his little like flyer mode. There's a little Core Gundam. You got some floating rocks, because that's the thing that happens. And then of course you got some Eldora happening down there. Of course, Bandai Spirits 2019. So that sucks that I missed this back in 2019. It's kind of weird that it came out in 2019, but I guess that makes sense from Season 1. We're in Season 2 now. I'm behind the times. Who cares? Come to the bottom, and you've got action. It's Core Gundam Earthree. Man, that's tiny. Separation and combination. Sure, various gimmicks enable dynamic action poses. Got weapons. Gundam. Looks like it's been clear-coated. You can see the shininess there is weird. And you got beam rifle and shield can be connected. Cool. Long and short beam sabers. Chest sections are in chest sections. What's are recreated with clear parts. Oh, okay. You read the whole sentence, it makes more sense. And you have a weird combination of armors here. So you got some Mars 4, some Earth 3, and some Venus weapons all going on there. It's really strange. He's never been shown to do a crossover like that. Minor combination between Earth and Venus, but nothing like that. And of course, this was number 1 in the line, so once again, I'm way behind. Who cares? And you got Bandai Hobby. And you got rear, front, all things. Earthree Gundam, a form where the Core Gundam and its Earth armor support mecha have combined using the planets system invented by Hiruto. Its basic capabilities have been improved, and its armaments have become more powerful. It's most effective when using its basic battle style and can adapt missions involving various situations. Hiruto has been using the mobile suit for a long time, and his consistent maintenance has allowed it to keep its blue color and excellent capabilities. That's a really strange way to put it. Back at the end, 2 years passed since Build Divers saved an L diver from battle's second coalition volunteers. Yeah, so once again, 2 years have passed since that happened, and we got warnings. 3-year-olds, Earthree. Ooh, interesting. I guess 3-year-olds could go with an Earthree armor. Little guy with the toilet. And then, of course, no yen cost. I just done trying to figure it out. I mean, you can see how much it costs at your own stores. Yeah, I really do wish they would put some kind of price on the thing. It's kind of annoying that it took it away. But either way, where's my artist? Illustration is by Koma. Background image is by Saito Yoshinobu. Those two are generally together, and even with new cool gimmicky Gundam, still upside down. And there's stuff in here, but it's actually from the Haro loader. I'd already put the Haro loader box away, so I threw all the Haro parts in here. So there's that. Also, blue thing, gonna mess up my white balance, so everything's gonna look a little bit kind of orangey or green. It's weird. So let's go. Alright, there we go. Focus a little bit. So here we have the little bitty Core Gundam and the Earth armor and its little flyer mode thing. So we'll look at the Core Gundam first. I didn't know which one I was going to do. Who cares? So there it is. It's a little bit tiny Gundam. Yes, it is. It is definitely like a half-sized Gundam. And yeah, I had it in that cool pose where I was riding the armor. See that in the thumbnail? Yeah. So I'll pull off the main weaponry stuff so we can take a closer look at it. And he's a tiny little guy. Look at him. Now I did add some black paint to make him a little bit more accurate. Back here behind the head crest, the vents / Vulcan areas there. Here on the shoulders, which has actually scraped off and been repainted before again. Little bits here on the kind of wrist or forearm area. And then just a tiny little bit down here on the little foot guards. And anything on the back? I don't believe so, except for the back of the shoulders. Another thing I did was I took some of the green reflective foil and put it behind here, and I will bring up a picture right here how I did that if you're interested. course, there's always leftover stuff. I just pieced it together to make that happen. Now, this little guy does have articulation, so he does have just the ball joint or double ball joint neck like that, so you can look down that far, up that far, rotate his head all the way around. No biggie, but just watch the V-fin, which I did remove the safety nubs because that's what one does. You got ball joint mounted shoulders. Just be careful with the way those polycaps work. Just watch out. So you get some nice articulation there, and you can get a nice high teacher out of that. Double jointed elbow is pretty good. Now he does look wonky because his hands are full size, even though he isn't, but of course we know he will grow later. Does he have a little bit of torso? That would be a no. He just split apart there real easily though. Can rotate at the waist. You know, itty bitty front skirts. They don't really get in anything, but they can move. No side skirts, that's fine. You get a super tight thing there, so that's about all you can get out of a Jean-Claude. You can kick that far forward. And then, technically speaking, double jointed legs, although you want to call this more of an ankle joint and not a single jointed knee. I wouldn't fault you for that, because of course his, you know, posability evolves. You got thigh rotation that can go all the way around, but, you know, as I usually say, why would you? And then you get this articulation down here for the foot, and this one's interesting the way they did this. So you get rotation this way for the ankle, and then up and down, because of course this isn't his real feet, so to speak. He's a stubby little guy, but that's okay. He does have beam sabers on the back, which is always nice, except I can't get him out of the slot. What the heck? Okay, so they don't peg into that, it pegs into them. Be careful, especially when you're doing here. There's some details there that are also right on top of the nubs, and some slight stress marks there. Now for shorty mode, you get short beam sabers, which he can hold. It's a loose-ish fit, but he can still hold it decently. A little bit of a curve to that blade there, but it is what it is. He gets his little beam spray gun, more or less there. So, real simple construction. You do get a nice camera sticker there. It will go on the back. On the back? Wow. Okay, so I'm thinking ahead. Apologies. So yeah, it's a nice little gun. He does have his little tiny shield. I believe this is the shield that gets left behind in the series. Got a couple scrapes there. Just panel lined, no biggie. The only reason I don't like it that much is due to the fact that this is how he holds it. Just this big, for lack of a better term, stick. It's a big stick. Where's my focus? There we go. And you can put it in his hand like this if you want, but that's not really how it's supposed to be held. It's supposed to be held like this, and then you rotate the hand sideways, and wow, that came apart super easy. See, like, I feel like this is for a reason, but I have yet to see what that reason is. There is the shield. You got some holes in there. I did actually hit the inside of the holes with some flat black paint as well, just because it looked like that on the box, so I did it. And let's see here, you get this piece as well, which is meant for storing things. Can plug that in there, and then utilizing this little peg, you can store the shield on the back. It's a loose fit. Maybe it's supposed to be this one. Yeah, okay, that's the right one. So that's much higher. And so that kind of counts as weapon storage, and weapon storage is
always good.
That's right. Okay, now you can also plug this in the butt, possibly. There's a slot there, so I don't know, maybe just, oh yeah, you can. So you can plug that on his butt skirt as well. So that's a thing you can do if you are so inclined. But this doesn't serve a ton of other purposes. Like, there's no other bits and pieces there. Now, maybe for other variations, maybe it comes in handy more often, but that's the thing. It does have this cute little thruster back here that also does move ever so slightly if you want to pop it off. probably want to glue that just for the heck of it. Okay, so now that the Gundam is done, let's look at the Earthree armor in its flight mode. So it does come in its own little jet flyer thing, which is neat. You do get a big green like camera sticker that goes right there. A little bit of black paint inside the vents there and on here and right there, and then as you come along a little more right there, in there. You'll see a lot more of that when it's actually in its Gundam mode. There's some crud there. It does come with its handy dandy standee, which is always a good thing. Gotta love that. And yeah, it's a pretty cool flyer for what it is. And as you saw, you know, if you want, you can have him stand on it in a multitude of ways, you know, something like that, or you can literally have him standing on his own feet if you want. It'll balance. I like that action pose that I had him in, where he's, you know, more or less kind of, yeah, just like rocking it out. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Doesn't do a lot in this mode, let's just be honest here. So that's the stand, just pull that out. It's a little thing there. Now, of course, the flyer is on a little core thingy, so that's all we need. So let's go ahead and try to get him transformed. So let's prop the, or combined rather. So let's prepare the Core Gundam. Let's pop the hands off. Gonna rotate the beam sabers vertically. My video is done. It's always a good thing to know. Take the ankles and just flip them back. Like so. Wait, why did I do that? Like that. I always do it to the wrong thing. So you've got these exposed holes right there. That's more or less what you want to do. The rest of it will come obvious later. Then you want to slide these bits out, which is really kind of disconcerting, but you'll get the hang of it. Might as well keep the arms up and out, more or less. So you end up with gaps here, and then you got the protrusions there. So that's it for the Gundam in preparation. And then basically we're going to make this explode. So we just start taking bits and pieces off. So we can pull that off. Just tabs in right there. Pull that off. Pull that off. Be real careful with these because they tab in this way. Like that. Like that. You got these little bitty pieces here. You know, all the kind of small stuff that you probably will expect to lose at some point. You can grab what is clearly the legs. Just pull those straight back. You know, there's a big tab in there. And then these parts are pegged onto, well, that just slides right off. So let's just do that. Now, I will say I modified this ever so slightly. I'll show you why in a bit when we get that far. And then you just got some little ball joints that these plug into, like that. Pull this straight down. It's got a weird like eye-shaped tab there. You got this little guy right here, which is the scariest little thing to have to remove. Just be careful. And then these bits, I'm gonna peel off that way, and then peel off that way, like so. And then there's your like bare core flyer thingy that just up and disappears when it's not in use. Oh look, it just disappeared. Okay, so let's start at the feeties and the leggies, so we can make them tall right off the bat. So we got the legs, and there's no left or right there. Swappable, no problem. Just straighten out the feet. You got this big tab in there, and it's going to go into that slot. Now my biggest problem was always getting it lined up properly. So you want to take the ankle guard and get it in that hole first, and then it'll slide down on the thingy, just like that. So get that, bend ever so slightly, and then in, and then down. And it goes on fairly simple, like so. Then we want the front skirts, and those are left and right. Little bitty tabs. You want to flip up the yellow pieces here and just install. Where's the other one? There it is. There we go. Installed there. Don't want to do the backpack just yet. Set that aside. And take some of these chest pieces. Now this is the part that I find the most daunting. So you have to kind of get up in here, because it's just not quite enough room. I guess if you really pull the shoulder out a little bit, you can get it. So maybe that's the key. Really pull the shoulder out of the ball socket a little bit more. And then you got this area goes in towards the neck to fill in that hole. So you want to cover it up like that. And we can see our little Core Gundam friend is changing. He's growing into his own full-size Gundam. There we go, pull it out. There's a little bit more. There we go. So that's a little bit easier. It just feels odd. You know, it doesn't feel comfortable like pulling that out like that, if I'm honest. Now you can grab these parts. These are going to be the new hands. You got a new big peg there that will slot in where the fist used to be. Just make sure it's a good connection. It should clip in a little bit, like you should feel. Okay. And we'll come to the shoulders. Now this is part I modified. So you can see the little slide tabs in there that are supposed to go in these, but because I painted that, I didn't really want any of the paint to scrape off. So I did trim those down ever so slightly, and that actually didn't feel like it was scraping much. So that's a good thing. Just basically clearancing for the paint. Now that one's a little looser, but I'm honestly going to live with it. Where did the hands go? Okay, so let's put the hands back on. I want to check the footage and see if the hands actually come off in the thing, or if these slide over the hands and new hands appear. Which to me would make sense, at least in the moment. Okay, so now we want to add the backs of the hands, which is another neat little trick to make it more official Gundam-like. Also, this is one of those ones where it's an interesting case that, like, the primary color of the Gundam is actually blue instead of white, which is interesting. Big old butt skirt, gotta love that. And he's really coming together. Then we do the backpack, which just tabs in right through there. The thruster goes through the gap, like so. And then, last but not least, install the crest. Earthree on the shiny thing. It's cool. Now that's it for the Gundam transformation, but we still have weapons to combine and stuff. So we have the shield, we have a shield extension, little thingies, tab in right there, whoop-de-doo. And you can mount this a couple different ways, but it really wants you to do this more or less. So you want to peg that into the hand. Maybe it's supposed to go the other way. This is something I've struggled with. So into the hand and then plugged in to the forearm like so. And I just don't like this connection at all. What just popped off? Oh, the shoulder. Okay, so maybe I over trimmed that shoulder. Maybe. So there it goes. There he's holding the new shield, which is cool. And then we have the gun add-on part, which we can prep a little bit. Now, the thing is, like, I've got it like this with a much narrower, come on, with a much narrower gap. You can widen that out a little bit. It does have a couple spots. So there's the really inset holes there, or when he's ready to do some real action, you slide it back like that, and you can do some much wider shots. I did actually add some black paint right inside there. And then you can just slide that on there. You know, he's got this much bigger beam rifle. And you can narrow this down a little bit if you really want to. That's kind of a pick your poison situation there, if you really want to do it. So, there we go. Here we get some nice Earthree armor goodness. Now, for the most part, articulation stays broadly the same. It's just that his limbs got longer. So, like the knees now have all of this motion, and then you have an extra ankle joint down here, which is pretty cool because the ball joint is going this way, and then you have a pivot here, so you actually get a ton of ankle rocker, and then toe point, which is something you almost never get, inverted ankle rocker, which is cool. This doesn't, and then it rotates this way as well, so that's a lot of goodness happening right there. Now some more black paint inside this edge here and right there. That's just little detail bits. You can totally do it inside there if you are keen on it. I did not want to do that. Also, I was trying to point it out before, a little bit of black paint there. Now, that's all things I copied off of the box. It's kind of how it should look. I am very much keen on doing that. And one thing I didn't really point out is right inside that little yellow kind of neck socket area, I did add a little bit more green stuff. Now, even on top of this, you do have some slight options. So if you want to, you can pull off that backpack and add this one. I think it goes this way. Yeah. And that gives you little spots so you can add on other weapons and such. I don't have any offhand, but it's a thing you can do. And of course, he does have... I haven't taken out this beam saber yet either. We'll say he does the splits pretty easily, for whatever all that means. And you do get long beam saber handles as well. You do get two. I say handles, blades. You get two of those. So you can, you know, make some battles happen if you want to. It's fine. It's fine. Now, presumably, this is for adding on other weapons packs and stuff like that. I looked at it and went, yeah, that's right. Okay, so put that back on there. Now, he does have one other little trick he can do. And I haven't really practiced this, so it should be awkward. So you've got a camera here, you've got this tab coming out here, and you actually do have this shield part on a hinge, which is interesting. But that can plug into the side of the rifle for more power? Question mark. I guess actually I have done this once to see that it worked, and it took me a second to figure it out, because if you have this too far, it ends up hitting the bottom of the gun. But that's like a extra beamy shooty part, like, you know, kind of thing. It's neat. I'm definitely never going to use it. And like the fact that it gives you this huge handle that plugs into the hand, I really wish that was on a thing that could flip away. Like this extension part could have easily been on a hinge that filled in this hole, and then this still tabs into the forearm, because there's no other reason to have that. And it really bothers me, to be totally honest. I think it's just ugly, for lack of a better word. It's ugly. I don't like the way it works. It's the same thing, you know, with just the small shield. It's the stupidest way to hold a shield. Just give him the ability to plug it into the arm. That's the best way to go with it. So, I mean, overall, it's a really nice Gundam. It's very interesting, the planet system, as it were. I don't know if he's ever actually, if they've shown us what planets means, but, you know, we'll find out someday, I think. Now, hold on. I'll bring in something for comparison. Bring in tertium, which also doesn't want to stand on this smooth surface. Also did not realize how much bigger he was, but I guess that makes sense given he's a Gundam Mark III. Then I can't get to Valkylander, so we're just going to live with that comparison. I can't quite reach everything where they sit, and wow, it does not like that color combination on camera, does it? And of course, if one is so inclined, bits and pieces from other kits can probably all be planted on this one, if you want. Now, we're still hoping that eventually he's going to turn around and come back to help our heroes in the series, but we're not sure. And we're already getting possible spoilers from other kits down the line. But we'll see what happens. So that means I need the Wodan pod, right? No, yeah, and Justice Knight, but I don't really want Justice Knight. I do have more of the Core Gundams coming. Oops, hello. Actually, a couple of them have already possibly come in. I'm not going to tell you what they are. We're just going to have to wait until a video comes out where I open the box. And you can see what all I've got coming. So, that's pretty neat. I digs it. So, if you're into it at all, but you were second guessing it, I would say get it. The only thing I'm not digging is the knee, because this whole section here is the knee, so it makes the legs really long, and I know most Gundam legs are long, but like the knee joint is kind of ridiculous, and the fact that the Core Gundam feet just sort of hang out the back is kind of like, alright, sure, that's a thing. But it's Hiroto, so it is what it is. I'm kind of excited to see more stuff in the future. I know Rodimus has basically built most of them so far. But, you know, I've got my own coming now. But I'll give it a big old thumbs up, guys. And you should give me a big old thumbs up down there if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Gaining subscribers every day. But please go subscribe to the secondary channel where I'm doing all kinds of other different stuff that don't involve robots, generally speaking. And I'm having a lot more fun doing other creative content on that channel. And we do have to surpass Rodimus over there. So please, go help support the Shoky Reviews 2 channel so that we cannot allow Rodimus to stay ahead of us in subscribers. He's a friend, but I can't let that happen. I'm sorry, I can't let that happen, Rodimus. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Remember as always, to keep on building.